I do have to ask you one question. Megan wanted me to ask you about something that happened in particular while she was playing for you. And you may or may not remember, but she has a question in particular about pitch calling. And it was a story where it was after a game. She came to your room and she was questioning your pitch calling. And do you remember this particular incident? And what can you tell me from that story?
I remember, I don't know if it was pitch calling, but I do remember clearly this was a defining point in my early coaching career. We had a game, it was a national tournament, and I was coming back to my hotel, and Megan was waiting outside my room. And she communicated with me her feelings on that. She, first of all, empathy. She understood what I did. So again, I would advise people, before you want to make a point and someone to hear you, acknowledge someone else. And I don't know if she remembers that, but she acknowledged that she understood why I did what I did. And then she gave me her feelings on it. And she communicated me in a way where, sometimes right off the field, it's not best to approach your coach right afterwards. You're still in that, it's like that 24-hour rule, right? But she
Mm-hmm.
instantly got through me and earned respect of, I realized that, you have to listen to a player. And so if we're talking about the same incident, which I think we are, I think that maybe the details of it, but yeah, it was for me realizing, man, and I knew that right now you're not talking at players and to players, that this one had the confidence. Yeah, it was self-confidence to make a statement to me, and not complaining and not bitching about things. It was, I have something to say to you. And Megan still does that. She still has
Yeah,
things.
I know.
It was actually a very important part early in my career, because I always remembered that. And again, having the confidence and courage not only to say what you need to say, but say it the right way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Starting with I understand, because empathy really is just, again, looking through somebody else's glasses, right? Just understanding how they're seeing something. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was definitely a turning point for me.
Yeah, she credits her ability to call pitches thanks to you. Do you care to comment on that?
Well, I've been a guy, again, how to play the game, right? So I'm obsessive in how we play it, but um, maybe to result fault, I've allowed our catchers to call pitches in national championship games. I just always felt like it's more about what we teach you and watching you do that than controlling something to an outcome. And that's just my point of view. Listen, easy for me to say we've had success. There's a lot of coaches that are trying to work their way up, and I get that. But and then how about this? You've got that IQ back there. So for me, and again, it gets into debate, right? Because there's so many debates in softball. But a catcher who is capable can smell the batter, can be right there. You can sense what's going on, and there was nobody better than Megan. And then
Mm-hmm.
obviously watching her go on and work with Kat and gain that trust. Boy, yeah, I would feel horrible right now if I would have not given her that opportunity to realize, yeah, I kept it down, right? But yeah, that was definitely an experience, and that was my first year of coaching. So that type of autonomy for our catcher and that defense, even to call the pickoffs and everything else, right? I think that's it. That's what my win is sitting back in a championship game and watching the way you're playing that game, not afraid to lose and going after the competition. Whatever happens, happens.
Mm-hmm. I think that, quite honestly, from what I've seen, is kind of a unique stance when it used to not be that way. Um, there's so much control from the bucket in terms of pitch calling and play calling. I think sometimes players miss out on building up that IQ because they're not able to feel the game instead of it's kind of being instructed at them.
Yeah, and how could we combine it, right? Because if you look at the college game, I, I think more of the term of a pitching manager, more of a pitching coach, just to take it out of the mindset that always addressing what the pitchers are doing physically. But let's talk about who are the batters coming up. What do you intend to do with them? I think as a coach, you have to adapt because you want to give autonomy and teach autonomy to your players, and you have to recognize when something needs direction. So I think there's
Mhm.
always a balance of that. Ultimately, yeah, autonomy is what we're going for. But if whatever it takes for it to be efficient, ideally, if we could look at ourselves as teachers and know that there's a curriculum, so at whatever point, whether it's 12s and 14s, we do have to walk. It's like teaching someone to drive, right? So I'm sure it's not fun for a 16-year-old and to have their parents, every micromanage everything, but we're scared. We don't want to die in the car. And then how long does it come before, you're driving on your own? And that's just for me. Like I said, that's just something that's worked for me. Everybody has their own wins and their own takeaways as far as what they're trying to get out of their coaching.